strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who the host is today. What day is it today? Who even knows? Who even knows anymore what day it is? No, just kidding. Anyways, today is Wednesday, March the 16th of 2022, day 75 of the year, and only 290 days left to go before it is all over and done with. And then, of course, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do things at. No, seriously, we are. Radio. So that's what we got going on right there. So don't worry about that. A lot of stuff going on this lovely morning as we will sit back and talk about and all that kind of fun stuff. So do you have anything exciting planned for this hump day? Because that's always an important thing to discuss as we are hanging and banging on a Wednesday morning. So taking it from what was trending in the overnight, let's talk about that real quick. Let's see. IDs of March. So here you go. Landed on Twitter's top 10 trend yesterday on the date of the 44th BC. Julius Caesar was stabbed to death by the Roman 30 Roman senators. There you go. Miss Marvel was trending after Disney Plus released the official trailer for the upcoming series. Debuts on the platform on June the 8th. And then yesterday was Equal Pay Day. The U.S. Department of Labor tweeted that the day symbolizes the extra days women on average have to work to be paid what men were paid the year before. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff there, I would assume. And let's continue talking. So it is Wednesday. We normally would talk about what is going on inside of the world of the charts with the books. So let's talk about that. The top fiction and nonfiction books currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. So let's do it from one side to the other and then go from there. So at the number 5 spot, according to the fiction category, was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The number 4 was Verity. And number 3 was The Paris Apartment. And number 2, It Ends With Us. And at the number 1 spot, according to the fiction category, based on what the New York Times bestsellers list says, here's what we got. Hook, Line, and Sinker. So there you go. What else do we have? Okay, according to the nonfiction book, at the number 5 spot was The Beauty of Dusk. At number 4, The 1619 Project. At number 3, comedy, drama. At number 2 was Red-Handed. And at the number 1 spot was The Body Keeps the Score. I feel like that book has been off and on that list. It seems like we talk about it, then we move from it, and then we come back to it. So I'm not 100% sure. What do you know about the book? Have you read it? Do you like it? Does it make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside? I don't know. I'm just asking you. So there you go. So let's talk about what we have planned, with the exception of some major catastrophe. The goal here today is this. We will talk about safety. We will talk about the news. We'll talk about safety and the news, and then safety in the news, and news in safety, and all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll do a combination of things. So what does that mean for, me, the average person? Means that we're going to talk about the news. And we're going to talk about safety, and we're going to talk about safety, and then we're going to talk about the news, and then we might combine them both. So don't be surprised if you get a little bit of both things. Shocker. Okay, so there you go. I think it's time for us to get moving right away, so we'll start talking to our friends to tell us about what's going on inside of the world of the news. and we can start that one. I have a feeling that we could possibly start that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is set to address a joint session of Congress this morning on this 21st day of Russia's deadly invasion. President Biden is also expected to speak today following Zelensky's remarks. Addressing Canada's parliament on Tuesday, President Zelensky asked members to put themselves in the shoes of Ukrainians and imagine Russian bombs raining down on their cities. New developments are unfolding in Ukraine as the country's fight for freedom continues. NBC's Molly Hunter in Ukraine.
We got reports from Kharkiv, another one of those besieged cities in the east. 2 apartment blocks apparently were hit. And in Zaporizhia, we just got word in the last hour, that is the destination for people evacuating from Mariupol. We just got word that a botanical garden and a railway station were possibly hit, which is extremely worrying because Zaporizhia was supposed to be the place where residents, civilians from Mariupol, were able to get to relative safety and then start their trek west.
A Ukrainian military strike has taken out Russian military equipment at Kherson International Airport. Mark Mayfield with more.
New satellite images from Planet Labs showed large plumes of smoke rising from the airport of the southeastern Ukrainian city. At least 3 Russian military helicopters were seen engulfed in flames or destroyed at the airport. Military vehicles were also hit. This comes as Russia has been stepping up its attacks on Ukraine and as they encroach on Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv.
A bill locking in daylight saving time as the nation's permanent time is closer to becoming law. The Senate approved it by unanimous consent, sending the measure to the House. It would end the twice-yearly changes involving standard time and daylight saving time. In other words, no more fall back or spring forward. Principal Senate authors include Florida Republican Marco Rubio and Rhode Island Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse. Wall Street futures are surging ahead of today's Fed announcement on interest rates. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Ukraine's president says peace talks with Russia are now more realistic. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visiting the UAE and Saudi Arabia for talks on boosting oil production. Chinese tech stocks have rebounded in Hong Kong after a sell-off over concerns about Beijing's ties to Russia and increased regulation. And Japan's planning to lift COVID restrictions on Tokyo and other areas amid falling infections.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
For the first time in 3 years, the Federal Reserve is expected to announce a quarter-point interest rate hike today. Bankrate's Greg McBride says the goal is to drive down inflation, which stands at a 40-year high.
Important to recognize this is not a one and done. This rate hike is just the beginning of what will be a series of interest rate increases that we see over the course of the next 1 to 2 years.
He predicts up to 7 hikes this year alone. That means you need to do what you can now to start paying down debt because the cost of money is going up. Expect to see higher rates on everything from credit cards to mortgages, but you will also see rates rise on some bank savings accounts and CDs. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is applauding President Biden's fiscal year 2022 budget agreement, which he signed into law on Tuesday. In a prepared video, Schumer said the historic deal will help American families.
American families will see more help come their way through the annual funding bill than they've seen in a long, long time.
Under the budget, Schumer says funding for child nutrition programs will be boosted by 7%, while Head Start educational programs will receive more resources. Meantime, college students will see the largest increase in Pell Grant maximums since 2019. No charges will be brought against a Chicago police officer who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy last year. Trey Thomas with more.
The Cook County State's Attorney's Office announced the decision yesterday, saying there's no evidence to prove the officer acted with criminal intent when he chased Adam Toledo down an alley and shot him in the chest. It happened within a second of the teen dropping a gun and raising his hands. His parents have filed a civil lawsuit and plan to contact the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division.
2 teams are moving on in the NCAA men's college basketball tournament. Texas Southern defeated Texas A&M CC 76-67, and Indiana took care of Wyoming 66-58 in the first 4 in Dayton on Tuesday night. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are doing our thing for sure on this lovely Wednesday. A cameraman and Ukrainian-based producer for Fox News have died after a Russian explosive hit near their vehicle. It was the time of the incident that wounded Fox on-air correspondent Benjamin Hall over the weekend. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about right there. A lot of interesting things going on that side of the planet. Meanwhile, a TV host for Russian state-owned Channel 1, Channel 1 has been fined 30,000 rubles after appearing in a live shot behind an anchor with a sign protesting the war on Ukraine. The formal charge was hooliganism, according to CNN reports. Are you ready for this? So 30,000 rubles. Are you ready for what this is going to be the cost? $280. So I want you just to think about that real quick. $280 because you spoke out. Think about that here. Think about if you were charged because you spoke out about something. What the hell would you be fined? No, seriously, what are you thinking? I don't know. I mean, I find it mind-boggling at times. Anyways, let's continue talking. Meanwhile, in space, the two Russian cosmonauts and the American astronaut that currently aboard the International Space Station, officials have confirmed that the American Mark Vande Hey will return to Earth on the Russian rocket in a couple of weeks with the Russian counterparts. So look, I guess we can get along if we really do try. Okay, so there you go. As of Tuesday, Vande Hey set the record for the longest continuous stay in space of American astronaut who clocked in at 355 days from when he lands. Wow, so there you go. The overall record goes to Dr. Valery, who spent 438 days on the Russian Mir space station before returning to Earth back in March of 1995. So if there is truth to the rumor that you do get taller, you do stretch out when it comes to that kind of stuff when you go to space, I start wondering right away, is this something that you would want to do? And if you come back as being taller, how does that work out for you? No, seriously, how does that work out? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. You know, having no weight on you for that period of time, that has to be interesting. And things have to be very strange once you get back. No, I mean, give it a thought. Give it a thought or two as we are talking about it.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So let's continue here. Pfizer is seeking FDA approval. I don't know if you heard about this. For the second booster shot for people over 65 years old. Pfizer CEO said that in recent days he expects the annual COVID shots to be akin to the annual flu shots. Meanwhile, the CDC has quietly changed its masking guidance for toddlers, suggesting that they should follow whatever the community guidelines are instead of the blanket mandate that they all should be masked all the time. Well, I guess that's a good idea, because have you ever tried to put a mask on a toddler? No, seriously. It's not the easiest task, and once you get the damn thing on, it's not like it's the easiest thing to keep it on them. No, seriously. Just want to make sure that we do reference that. Okay, when they were pushing for Americans to wear 3 masks every day and let Grandpa die alone in the hospital, Anthony Fauci and Rochelle Walensky were all over cable news, but now that their measures are less restrictive, they are missing in action. That's sarcasm by my writer here. Interesting choice on how you said that. But think about it. When was the last time you had seen any of them? It's something to talk about. That's for sure. By the way, British Airways has announced that it will not require mask on flights when the destination is the country without mask requirements in places like Great Britain. And for the record, second gentleman Doug F. Muff has tested positive for COVID. So there you go. There you go. Just something to talk about. And Vice President Kamala Harris is clear, just so we can talk about it. Anyways, the Bank of America survey economists now shows the majority believe that inflation is permanent at 51 to 39%. 51 to 39%. Just last month, the survey indicated the inflation would be transitory, and with the numbers that it would essentially be flipped. Meanwhile, gas prices continue to fall on Tuesday, clocking in under $100 a barrel. I guess if we start talking about that, maybe it's time for me to bring in Johnny Smalls and let him tell you what he's thinking.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. Equity markets rebounded Tuesday after some better-than-expected inflation data. But don't read too much into the move. The PPI data was better than expected at the headline levels, but still up 0.8% from last month and 10% from last year. With input prices still on the rise and oil trading near $100, producer prices and consumer prices are still going to get higher. And there is the FOMC to consider as well. The FOMC will release the March policy statement Wednesday afternoon and virtually guaranteed to hike rates by at least 25 basis points. The biggest risk for the market is the first hike will be larger than expected and or come in with a more hawkish than expected outlook. In that scenario, the odds of stalling the economy will rise because higher interest rates could lead to higher inflation in the near term at least. A stalled economy could easily turn into a recession. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for the information. Probably not the information that people want to hear when it comes to some of that stuff. You know that. I know that. But hey, it's what's going on, so it's definitely one of those things that we do need to talk about. Anyways, let's continue talking it as it is 22 minutes past the top of the hour, as we are hanging and banging real quick right here. Anyways, a reckless British driver sent police on a 35-mile chase last week after his Audi was spotted swerving and violating traffic laws. At one point, a police helicopter was dispatched to follow from the air. When officers finally stopped him, he demanded identification. The driver produced a Legoland identification card that was nearly 20 years old. The driver also had a stash of marijuana on him and has reportedly stoned off his guard as that happened. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. If you're gonna turn around and you're gonna get caught, hey, let me just give you my Legoland pass. You know what I'm saying there? No, seriously, for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes. For the people that are actually going into callinradio.com, thanks for the messaging. Yes, I have not mentioned it, but thanks for you hanging out in there and saying something about it. Yes, if you want to hang out and do something on the show, callinradio.com is the best choice of being able to do that, because that's probably what I pay attention to when I'm looking around. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com on your web browser, and that will get you moving and grooving and all of that kind of fun stuff right there if you're so inclined to do so. What will that do for you? Well, it will do the following. It'll get you into our messaging system, or it will get you into our lovely video messaging, or even our audio calling. So there you go. You have some options on what to do as you are hanging right there. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Anna Sorkin deportation to Germany remains in limbo. The con artist made famous in her Netflix Inventing Anna miniseries was supposed to be on a plane headed back to Frankfurt on Monday, but she wasn't on the plane. And why might that be? That's a good question. Her absence doesn't appear to be the beginning of another con at this point, though. Her lawyers have appealed the deportation, and that it appears to be that it's held up in court. She remains in federal custody in New York. Now, I have to ask that question because, we're talking about it, so hopefully there is some validity to bringing it up on this show, and then also at the same time tying it into some of the other things that we do. Have you watched the show? Have you watched Inventing Anna? Or any of that? I mean, it's an interesting one. Let's just be realistic. It really is. It's one of those things that you start thinking about it and you go, how does this even happen? That this girl, according to the movie, or to the docu-series, was almost able to get $40 million when it was all said and done. I mean, it's interesting on how she was able to create a character and be able to pull that maneuver off. That's something to think about as we are hanging here. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the news here, because there is a lot going on right now. Did you hear about this one? All clear after Apple headquarters partially evacuated. The all clear was given after a part of Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California was evacuated yesterday. Michael Kastner reports.
It was due to a potential hazmat situation. Santa Clara County fire officials say Apple Park was partially evacuated after first responders found an envelope with a white powdery substance. The scene was eventually cleared, and Apple employees were able to re-enter the campus. No word yet on what the substance found in the envelope may have been. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that one, sharing, letting us know what exactly is going on inside of that neck of the woods. So I think, imagine how scary that has to be when it was all said and done. Anyways, to continue talking, Russia has a $117 million debt payment due today. Russia has big debt payment to make, and it's uncertain whether it can. Let's talk to Michael Kastner one more time.
Moscow is due to pay $117 million in interest on two dollar-dominated sovereign bonds. If it doesn't pay, it could risk defaulting the debt. Russia's economy has been in free fall since the U.S. and other nations laid on sanctions, and hundreds of companies stopped doing business in the country in response to the invasion of Ukraine. Russian default on its debt would be the first since the Bolsheviks refused to recognize the Tsar's debt after the 1917 revolution. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for that one as things were coming around and about, and we are talking on this morning of Wednesday, Hump Day, for some of those that are out there. So you heard about this, but let's take a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain. Senate approves bill locking in daylight savings time as the permanent time. The bill locking the daylight savings time as the nation's permanent time is closer to becoming law.
The Senate approved it by unanimous consent, sending the measure to the House. It would end the twice-yearly changes involving standard time and daylight saving time. In other words, no more fall back or spring forward. Principal Senate authors include Florida Republican Marco Rubio and Rhode Island Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse. I'm Michael Kastner.
Too bad it's not a Sheldon Primus, that's for sure. So let's talk about that real quick because I think it's going to be an interesting one. So that means that the time frame that we are in right now, would be the lock. So meaning that you get the hour later of daylight and not the hour earlier is what is all said and done. So what do you think about it? Would you be excited if time did not change and this would be the time year round? Because I will tell you, I mean, when you fall back and all that crap, the standard daylight time or whatever the hell people call it, it's mind-boggling. You get off of work, let's say, for instance, hypothetically 5 o'clock, and you feel like your day's over with because it's pitch black. I mean, I don't know how the people in Alaska do it. Let's just talk about that, because how do you live with that whole thing of 24 hours of darkness during certain portions of the year, depending where you're located inside of the country, and all that kind of fun stuff? I mean, or 24 hours of just straight daylight and all that kind of. I mean, it's just, I don't get it. But think about it. Is this something that will be good for you? Now, think about it from a safety perspective, and you've heard the people talk about this because this has been the week of it, where a lot of people have said a lot of incidents and accidents occur that first Monday after the daylight savings or after daylight's time change, regardless of which direction, forward, backwards, reverse, all that interesting stuff. Well, anyway, that's some stuff to think about as we are talking. Anyways, I think we're close enough to it. It is 30 minutes past the top of the hour. So I think it might be time for us to do that thing called, well, the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about this because it is always interesting to listen, to be invited, to talk with, to come up with ideas. But what do you do when you have attempted everything? So now what? No, it's not the song by Pink. I'm not a rock star, that's for sure. But you know that there's times in life that you and your organization are doing things to implement change. You are doing things to make things different than what they were, and you have attempted A through Z, and things don't seem to be working. and you can't figure it out. You are attempting to make this change, and for some God unknown reason, it just doesn't work out. And it's not that you've done it incorrectly. It's not that you sat back and rested on your laurels. It's just, it hasn't worked. So there's that struggle for the moment there of what do we do? How do we correct it? Now, depending on your organization, size, type, and all that fun stuff, we can have the conversation real quick where people will turn around and say, well, if you have that as an option, the idea will be to fire a whole bunch of people. And I don't know why that always comes up as portion of the conversation, which it should not be. But what happens from time to time is you have ideas, but it's the implementation of how they should work on how things should come about and be able to move forward. Now, bear with me just a moment because people are not going to love this, and that's okay. But at some point, when you start looking at these things that do not work out perfectly for your organization, you have to use that outer box perimeter thing of, hey, how do I think here outside of the box of what we've normally been doing? And listen, some people struggle when you hear this, but I will tell you, it is okay to buy a pre-box plan. And I'm not joking as I say this. And it is okay to look at an outsider to come in to assist. Because here is what I have noticed throughout the years of being able to hang out with different organizations and do the things that I get to do. You cannot be a prophet in your own land. You can have the best ideas, and sometimes the company won't agree, even though you've attempted to implement it and it just has not worked out. But for some reason, it always works out that if you bring in an outsider, or let me rephrase that, most of the times when you bring in an outsider can say the exact same things that you've been saying and things will improve. Why is that? I don't know. Now, I will tell you, when I was younger, I worked at a very, very famous electronic retailer that I will not mention by name, but they did have some of the best buys in the business. And they always attempted to promote from within. But there was always a catch. And let me explain the catch, and it's a good catch. If you were being promoted from supervisor to assistant manager or assistant manager to general manager, you could not stay in the same store location that you were brought up in, majority of the time. And the reason behind this was because they had actually done enough case studies, really a lot of Gallup poll surveys as well, that they realized that people that they promoted from within, if they stayed in the same store, they did not get the same level of respect that they would get if they were transferred to a different store. Now, sometimes some of those managers did come back after a period of time to the store where they were, we'll say, brought up in. But it was interesting to see on how that actually worked. And I was with the company for 5-6 years. And I was always intrigued on the accuracy of that. I had seen some managers that were supervisors to managers that stayed at the same location, and they were not extremely successful in what they were doing. And it wasn't because they weren't good at their job. It was the level of respect was different because people were so accustomed to them. And I realized more and more at the time that being a prophet in your own land became extremely difficult. But if they would go to a different store location, they were extremely successful because nobody really knew them. Unless somebody else transferred from the store, blah, 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 blah. You get it. So this is what I would say. If you are an organization that has multiple locations, I would recommend that you partner up with someone from the other location and maybe have them come over and say what you think should be done inside of your org and vice versa. And the reason that I state these things is because those are the times that people seem to be extremely successful, because now you're bringing in somebody else from a different segment of the organization that some of the people that you might work with not know. The other option is always bringing in an outside firm, an outside consulting service, all that kind of fun stuff. Those are options as well. But I always think that if you can partner within, well, number one, it's more cost effective. And number two, you almost get it instantly, and you're not waiting for, well, when is the firm available? When is the consultant available? And believe me, if you know me, you know that that's kind of part of the stuff that I do. So it's like, why are you saying don't go through the consultant? Because that's not for everybody. So it's stuff like that that we have to think about on what we can do that might be slightly different. It is no different than when you are trying to enhance your life and do different things. You might go outside of what your typical norm is, and you might be in a relationship with someone and they can tell you need to do X, Y, and Z, and you decide to go through a mentoring service, a coaching service, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And they might tell you the exact same thing that your significant other was telling you that you should do, but they were an outside prophet. Let's just be realistic. And you might take better heed to what they had to say. But it's interesting on how those things work. And if you implement that in different sections of your life, you'll take a look that what I am saying does not sound as crazy after you kind of think about it for a hot minute. So there you go. Anyways, that's just my thought for today. It is 37 minutes past the top of the hour. You know what I'm going to do next.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F. Face drooping. A. Arm weakness. S. Speech difficulty. T. Time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Nightcap with Be Strong. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So there you go. Some fun stuff, some fun times to be able to do that. So let's get moving. Let's get grooving. Thank you to Nightcap for allowing us to play this one here on the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, I could stay here all day with this techno stuff. You know how that goes. I don't know. I just like it. Don't take it out on me. Anyways, let's get back into some of the more stuff about what's going on inside of the world of the news as we are doing our thing. Anyways, thanks to all the people that are hanging out. I can see you over there on the Twitch side of the planet. Hello, good morning. Hopefully you're having fun as you are hanging and banging over there. I know we come across on a whole bunch of social media, but for some reason we get a lot of interesting things over there on the Twitchverse. So all you have to do if you want to hang out over there is go to twitch.com/safetyfm, and that will get you into it. Anyways, let's continue talking about a lot more things that are going on inside of this world. Symbol signals. We all know about one or two people around the office who are seemingly incapable of composing an email without including a smiley face, a winky face, or some other emoji before hitting send. Well, they might want to reconsider. Researchers at Tel Aviv University found that workers who frequently use emojis and other graphics in their emails are seen less authoritative. In addition, these employees are seen less powerful. The aim of the study says that it is determined whether the use of images in email influences the perception of an employee at work, and it seems that emojis should be used with caution. The scientists concluded that our advice think that twice before sending a picture or an emoji with people in your organization or in any context in which you wish to be perceived as powerful. Less powerful, less flirty, I'm going to say. 838 emojis to choose from, and you're telling me that I can't use any of them. Believe me, if you're using an emoji face on a work email, it's much more likely that to be confused with a confused face and a smiley face, or possibly a vomit face. So there you go. Some things to think about. Anyways, before I forget, yesterday, we released our newest ebook on Safety FM Plus. If you want to go out and take a look at that real quick, we did talk about that. We were talking about intelligence. Yeah, I know. It seems like we're lacking some over here, but we did talk about intelligence as we were hanging and banging. And why the subject of intelligence? Well, that's a good question. I don't know. So all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com and then go into intelligence, and that will give you the information about our latest book. And it's actually What is Intelligence? Let me bring this over here real quick. So it's What is Intelligence? You can come out, hang out, get the book, hang out, and take a look at what else we have going on. So it's the definitions and implications of human intelligence. I always think it's important to have some of these discussions opposed to it just being whatever. So safetyfmplus.com. Right there, readily available to download, or you can even download it directly from the app. Anyways, before I forget, let me tell you the most important thing that I am ever going to tell you, and I will say it once and I'll say it 1,000 times more, and possibly even more than that. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Or you can also go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, and that will get you moving and grooving. Keep in mind that there is ways to make a difference in your area, or just a difference overall. You can join a local chapter, or just get information on what is going on with this all-important subject matter. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on in our world today. Just out of morbid things to talk about, a hair salon owner in England has decided that a 4-day work week is enough. Joe McCauley, who runs Slunks in Cardiff, decided to let their staff work a shorter week in March of 2020. Then the pandemic hit, but after noticing his employees were happier, healthier, and more relaxed after he introduced the measure, he decided to make it permanent. And there's a weird thing. Workers are still being paid for a 5-day week. Plus, part-timers were given a boost in pay. McCauley says that he's seen the benefits, with his team having more energy, a surge in productivity. Now he's urging other businesses to follow suit, saying that this is simply better, healthier way of working. Outside of work, you can be a better person, better parent, better member of the community. Hold your horses. I've already dropped off my resume. The boss here was thinking to give me an extra day off around here too. The problem is that no one can think about, the way that this guy does stuff, to minus the one work day a week. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? Just a lot of weird stuff going on as we are talking. Anyways, before we get too far away, I think it's time to bring in some Johnny Smalls once again for a Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Nina. Henry Ford said, "Don't find fault, find a remedy. Anybody can complain." Oh, I like this one. I used to work at a radio station in Nebraska, and I had a coworker. We'll call him Joe because that was his name. One Monday morning on the radio, I asked Joe, "How was your weekend?" And he said, "Pretty boring. There's nothing to do in this town." Well, that weekend, I barely got any sleep because I was part of an event that involved thousands of people and dozens of volunteers. I kind of unloaded on Joe about complaining that there's nothing to do. Then I asked him, "Joe, what are you doing to fix that?" He didn't have a very good answer. Do you? This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlassaMorgan.com. There is a common belief that as we get older, certain things become more difficult, and maintaining a healthy weight is one of them, as our metabolism slows down. However, research indicates that this may not be the case. A study published in the Science magazine analyzed metabolic rate of 6,500 people ages 8 days to 95 years. According to the findings, there are 4 metabolic stages. Infancy to age 1, metabolism is almost twice faster than adult rate. Age 1 to 20, metabolism drops 3% per year. Age 20 to 60, no changes in metabolism. After age 60, metabolism drops at the rate of 0.7% per year. This demonstrates that if our metabolism got slower due to our lifestyle or accumulated toxins, we have all the resources to change that. For additional information, check out AlassaMorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. There was that 51 minutes past the top of the hour as we are coming near to the end of what we have going on. So let's keep talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. China COVID lockdowns could hurt tech supplies. Tech experts are wondering if Chinese cities and provinces in COVID lockdown will be bad or very bad for tech supply. Mike Bauer reports.
In recent days, Chinese cities and provinces have imposed extensive lockdowns to try to stop the spread of the Omicron variant. Shenzhen, a hub of electronics manufacturing and a vital port that is home to 17 million people, announced a lockdown for 7 days, and Foxconn, a Taiwanese electronics firm that supplies Apple from factories there, said it would suspend operations. Further restrictions in China, home to more than a quarter of global manufacturing, are likely to reverberate through the already tangled supply chains. The shutdown is just the latest hit at a time when war and sanctions are already straining supplies of commodities. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, there you go. Information going on. So it'll be interesting to see with the COVID stuff how tech will manage. Keep in mind, and I'll just make reference to this, especially with Mac, listen to me, with Apple announcing their newest computer line on how that's going to impact. But then again, people should be starting to get them starting in 2 days, if I do remember correctly. So let's talk about this. This is some positive stuff, I hope. Gas prices drop again. Gas prices aren't exactly falling, but they are down again for the third time in the past 4 days. Trey Thomas has more information.
The AAA station survey finds today's national average price of regular unleaded is down to $4.30 a gallon, a penny a gallon lower than yesterday. Gas is about $5 a gallon in 3 states now. Statewide averages have passed the $5 mark in Nevada and Hawaii, joining highest in the nation, California, for that unwelcome distinction. I'm Trey Thomas.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's not a distinction that you want to have at this particular moment in time. You probably want to be like, hey, let's see how low we can get this thing. Anyways, to continue talking real quick, Russian forces occupy a hospital and take hundreds of hostages. Russian forces are reportedly occupying a Ukrainian hospital holding some 500 patient staff hostage. Here's what Trey Thomas reports.
Residents of the southeastern city of Mariupol allegedly contacted the Media Initiative for Human Rights in Ukraine and informed them of the hostage situation. It's been reported that Russian forces are threatening to shoot at those trying to escape. This occupation of the hospital comes after Russian forces bombed a maternity ward last week, killing 5 people. I'm Trey Thomas.
So there you go. That's what Trey Thomas is letting us know on what's going on. Here's some additional information. Markets Wars Creating World is coming unglued feeling. A sense among some of the world is coming unglued is hanging over the global markets and economy. Mike Bowers has more information.
When the Federal Reserve officials raise interest rates today, they'll do so amid an unfortunate economic reality. Many of the inflationary pressures that had been long assumed would go away are not only sticking around, but maybe getting worse, which highlights a sense that the world is coming unglued and that great power geopolitics will ultimately shape economic destiny that hangs over global markets and the economy. And the threats are to globalization itself, and specifically the assumption that even countries that have big disagreements can do business with each other on an ever-widening scale. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, thank you, Mike Bauer, for that one and what is going on inside of our world. Anyways, let's continue talking as we're getting close to the top of the hour here. No winner for Monday night's drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $133 million jackpot or an $87.8 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity of doing so. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Back on this day, let's see, back in 2020, global infections of COVID hit 86,000 with 3,241 deaths. Glad that we seem to be coming out on the other side currently. Anyways, talk about some birthdays that are going on. Blake Griffin turns 33. Alexandra Daddario turns 36. Yeah, you know who she is. Lewis Hose turns 39. Blue Cartel turns 46. Lauren Graham, 55. Flavor Flav, 66. And Victor Gaber turned 73 today. What else do we have going on? If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I am sure that I have some of those for you to celebrate if we're so inclined on doing that. Everything You Do Is Right Day, National Artichoke Hearts Day, National Artichoke Hearts Day, National Curl Crush Day, National Freedom of Information Day, National Panda Day, and National SBDC Day. So there you go. A plethora of different days to celebrate if you want to do that. So there you go. What else? Let's take a look around. Real quick. Let me give you some whack facts real quick because I think we should do that. Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa has her own mailbox at the Louvre because of all the love letters she receives. Studies show that your favorite foods are likely those your mother ate while pregnant with you. Shit, that means my mom ate a lot of tacos because that's all I ever want to talk about. Tacos and nachos, man. Anyways, the name coronavirus is derived from the Latin word corona, meaning crown, or halo, and this refers to the appearance of a crown of a solar corona around the virus particles. It would take a snail 220 hours to crawl 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers. A group of lizards is called a lounge. And then the scientific name for gorilla is gorilla. So there you go. Don't know why we said it that many times, but we sure as shit just did. Anyways, 58 minutes past the top of the hour. Here you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What topic could you give 20-minute presentation on with no presentation? Or with no preparation either. Random joke for today. I'm pretty sure that I've reached the point where you need more brains to fill out the income tax forms than the actual the actual income that you actually make. So there you go. If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question. Young people are 4 times more likely to do this with their phone compared to older people. What is it? Keep it on mute. So there you go. Anyways, that's all we got for today. Thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on the Rated R Safety Show. We can't do what we do without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. So thank you very much. So if I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. What is now proven was once only imagined. Think about this. This show at one point was just in my imagination. And we just got to spend an hour together doing it. What a twist. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.